All right, here we go.
We're live.
Mitch, Boone Jenner, and myself. How's everyone doing anyway? Booner, how you doing, buddy? How's life back in Canada?
It's good. Just finished the 2-week quarantine. Got back with Mitch the last couple of days training, so it was nice to get back with him. And weather's been good, so the quarantine wasn't too bad. It went by pretty quick. So
yeah, good.
But happy to be done with it.
Oh, that's good, man. It is a bit of a grind though. When you like if you stick to the rules 100%, because we've had the quarantine twice now, like my family over this whole year and a bit. And if you actually stick to the rules and don't leave your property, it's like, man, by day 10, I told my wife, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And she was on me. She's like, no, you're not going anywhere.
Go for a jog. We thought we had it down until exactly about day 10, 11, 12. And those were like, felt like a week. The last 3 days, the home stretch there was tough.
It's a grind, man. Yeah, and you don't think like, you're just, and you got a good spot, whatever. This is crazy.
Yeah, the first week you're like just excited to be home.
Yeah,
got enough to do around the house, and then you start. Yeah. All right, let's get out of here.
I just want to see Tim Hortons or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How are the workouts back? How'd you feel?
Pretty good so far. A little sore, but that means we're doing the right thing. So
looking good, feeling good.
Oh, that's good, man. That's really good. How overall? I know. Not even frustrating year, just like a tough year, and not even like hockey wise or Columbus wise. But what was it like playing in this year? Like as far as COVID, like in the NHL, I know road trips kind of sucked talking to guys just because like you couldn't go for meals, you couldn't like go hang out, play cards, things like that. So was it a bit of a grind kind of getting, going through this year as far as playing at home, playing on the road? Was it just like, let's just keep hammering games, keep playing games? And it wasn't, because I guess you missed out on that social part of the hockey.
Yeah, I think that was one of the toughest parts. Just not being able to go to dinner or meet up with the guys, especially on the road. You're going to dinners, especially for us. I think in Columbus we had a lot of new faces. Yeah, that's kind of where you can bond or get to know someone away from the rink. It could be a completely different person away from the rink than at the rink. So we kind of, everyone was in the same boat. So we knew that. I mean, we try to use going to the rink as your fun. I mean, after that, you're just heading home. Guys are heading back to their families and whatnot, and really not leaving the house otherwise, right? So try to use that as the fun. Get as much out of going to the rink every day as you can. When you can't meet up later at night for dinner or see someone's family and get to know them ways. So you try to do as much as you can at the rink, but that was definitely a challenging part, I'd say. Especially, like I said, with all the new faces, it was a little bit strange that way. But like I said, everyone's going through it. We were lucky where we didn't really have a lot of cases. We had one case early, but we didn't have to shut down the rink for a week or anything like that. So we were one of the teams that was lucky that way. Yeah, that would have threw a wrench in it for sure. But I was telling Mitch today, like we didn't have to postpone games or move the schedule around too much. There was the odd time where, hey, we're not practicing today because of this, because of that, COVID related, but otherwise we're pretty lucky that way. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, that is huge. Now, would you stick around the rink for like as long as you could, just because like why am I going home anyway? Like were the guys who were just rink rats, or did you guys have to like you can't stay this long?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, they want to get you in and out of there.
Yeah.
So they can do all the cleaning and all that too. But at the same time, we had the meals at the rink, not dinner, but like the lunch, and you stay pretty late some days just chatting away with someone else, right? And it's 12 or 1 o'clock, and you kind of know when you go back, you're not going to leave. You're going to cook dinner at home and do that, and you're kind of saddled up for the rest of the day. So try to get the most out of it. Exactly.
Totally.
By the time you left,
with other guys. So
yeah, for sure.
By the time you left, too, it's pretty wide open in Columbus, right? Like how long were you there where it was open? It wasn't actually too long, was it? Or did you have a couple months where you guys were?
It was pretty open right when we got there. I guess like start of the year was January.
Was it already pretty open then?
Pretty open, in the city, but we still had no fans. I don't know how many games it was.
Yeah.
The no fans for at least 10, I would say, to start the year. We had one game at 10%, which was just over 2,000 fans, and then we went to 25% the next home game after that. So that was a big difference.
It's a big jump.
Yeah. So in front of fans, we had about just under 5,000, I think it was. That was, a good, energy, jolt of energy, whatever you want to call it, because starting to play in front of fans again, it had been a while. So that was good. But everything around the city, I think restaurants and grocery store, everything was open. You gotta be smart with the mask and everything like that. But in our situation, we weren't really going for dinner or anything like that. Trying to, we're getting tested every day. You don't want to be out, getting it that way or whatnot. So
totally.
And you guys had kind of tight protocols too, where you weren't really allowed to, like, if you went out and socialized, had dinner with some buddies or whatever, like that would be like looked upon very ill by the team, right? Like the team did not want
you want to follow the rules, and
like
I said, you don't want to be the one guy that goes out and it just so happens that night, and then you bring it to the rink, and you never know what can happen, right? That's the thing. You gotta be safe with it. Can spread quick. So we were lucky, like I said, this year with every guy on our team following the rules pretty good, and it showed, I guess, by not having to miss games or shut down the rink, or a handful of guys getting at the same time.
So you were legit playing every other day, pretty well, like with no postponed games. It was
I forget what the schedule was like. It was 56 and 114, 116 days, something like that. So you're busy with that. As players, you just get in the mode of practice day, game day, travel day, game day, travel day, whatever it is. You just get in the mode, and
Now playing the same team so many times, like I think back to like my like when I played, which was a long time ago. But no, when you think of playing,
how long ago?
Right? And you're playing against guys, and you're just like, you know what I mean? Like, man, after 3-4 games against a team, there's 5 guys on that team I want to just like spear right in the neck. You know what I mean? Like I remember I was a fiery guy, and I get into dirty areas, whatever. But you get fired up, man. And now playing a team as many times you guys played, like, in that kind of 4 or 5 or 6, 7 team clump that you guys had, like, what was it like playing these teams that many times? Like, was it kind of getting like, not, I don't want to say boring, but kind of like, okay, these guys again? Or was it like, man, I want to get that guy? Or it was, you know what I mean? Yeah. Was there a lot of like internal stuff going on, or not too bad?
Situations, I guess, like, you come pissed off after a game or whatever. It'd be like, it's all right, we got him 6 more times or whatever, and it's all pretty soon. So, don't worry, like, you won't forget. Or, they did a pretty good job, I thought, in our division where it wasn't more. I think we had one time this year we played the same team 4 times in a row. But other than that, it was just 2 and 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Like I know in some other divisions, teams are playing each other like 6 times in a row. It's like a playoff series in the middle of the season. Like
totally.
We didn't really have that, but like that's really when I think it boils over. You're playing 5-6 times. We could feel it with the 4-game series we had. But there's definitely you take a guy's number, you're seeing him in a week or 2. Chances are. So you get to know your opponent pretty damn good. So it's definitely different that way. And it was different, watching the other games in the other, conferences, I guess, or divisions.
Yeah.
It just like, half the guys, or you haven't seen that team this year, or you haven't seen them in a year and a half now, where it's like, it seems like a totally different, thing.
Crazy.
So, because you're just focused on your 8 teams in your division, and that's what, what matters. So that was different that way for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like, were you guys pretty aware of what was going on in other divisions, or was it more just focus on your division, try to win your division? Because at the end of the day, like, let's just get out of this pool and then we can get to the playoffs. And you know what I mean? I think that was probably the goal for most of the teams, right?
Yeah, exactly. In a normal year, you're worried about your own division, but you're seeing every other team. So you know who you're playing, and, if they're doing good in their division, whatever. But it was, just our division you're focused on. Like, you have to beat these 7 teams. You have to be in the top 4, and you get a chance to play, right? So it was good that way. You definitely pay attention in other ones, but it really didn't matter, right? It didn't matter who won. The worst part probably was when you needed help, 2 teams were playing against each other, and you don't want them both, or you can't afford them both to get points, but someone's going to win. The points are against you. Like, you don't have a Western Conference team coming to beat your team in your division, right? Like, the points
Yeah,
are staying in the
totally.
division every game. So when you're watching games in your division, whoever wins, it hurts you at the same time, So
For sure.
yeah,
Definitely. Now, how sick was it to not have like pre-scouts and crazy? Like, I mean, your pre-scouts are there, but like you played this team 6 times. You're like, we know what's
yeah.
going on. Like,
By the
probably
sixth,
shortened
seventh
up
time,
all
you're
your
like,
stuff, right? Like,
we know the power play breakout, or
yeah. Yeah.
you just need a quick refresher. Like you've played
Yeah.
them so many times, so
It cut down your
I mean
video
the
time.
video got cut down quite a bit that way.
Yeah.
That,
Coaches were pumped for sure, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can only
Yeah.
show so much, and I mean, you play them 6, 7 times. You're like, all right, you've seen enough
Yeah.
at this point.
No,
So.
definitely. Now, unfortunately, and for anyone who doesn't know, who's jumping in later or jumping in on this or sees this later on, I mean, obviously Boone's played for Boone. What is it now? 6, 7, 8 years now? Eight.
Just finished 8. Yeah.
8 years.
Finished
Wow.
8.
Yeah, it goes by.
Man, like over 500 games. So congrats on that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
thanks, Blazer.
Full pension. You're all no, I'm just kidding. That's I mean, 500 games is awesome, man. That's a feat. Like that's unbelievable, man. And played young. Like played at I think it was 19, right? Boonery made the
20. I was 20
20,
when
okay.
the first
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But I mean, you could have went back to junior as an OA technically, right?
Yep.
Like yeah. And played World Juniors 2 times, which is like awesome. And I think won a gold medal. Got sussied in one of the suspended in one of them.
Both of them actually.
Both of them.
Both years. Yeah, the World Juniors didn't treat me too well.
Well, you're excited. You're excited, man. You're the king jersey on.
I got too excited. Exactly. Did it the first year, and then told myself I wouldn't do it the next year, and it was not. It didn't even make it to the round robin. It was in the preseason.
It was in the preseason.
So, yeah.
What was it? What was it? Like a vicious hit?
Yeah, the second year was a hit. It was a late hit. I think the first year was a spear.
Right. Well, I mean, sometimes it happens by accident.
Yeah. Funny, I mean, yeah.
Get fired up.
I never got suspended in the OHL or anything when I was playing there, and then that happened. So.
Yeah. And even in the NHL, have you ever gotten suspended in the NHL?
No, I haven't.
Right. So give me
something comes out of you in the World Juniors, I guess.
It's the IHF, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Different rules. Yeah, settle down. Come on. It's a contact sport. Come on, let the boys play. What were like when you think back on World Juniors and stuff like that, playing for Team Canada and getting a chance to play in like some big games and stuff. What was that like overall? Because I know any kid in Canada grows up and they're like, man, I can't. It'd be unbelievable to play and put the jersey on and all this stuff. But what was it like to get that opportunity and play in that kind of a situation? Because I think it's something to look at.
I mean, the first year was in Canada too. It was Edmonton and Calgary, and it sounds cliche, but growing up, like you watched it every year at Christmas, right?
Totally.
So.
For sure.
I remember the past 10 years probably going into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a pretty big honor to be named to the team, and it hadn't really sunk in, till you got there, till you got to Edmonton, and you saw the crowd and the hype around it, and everyone from back home's watching, and it's it's a Christmas holiday special now, so it was pretty surreal for sure. Never played in front of a crowd like that. Gave me a taste of international hockey. I mean, played in the U18, U17s, but it was completely different level, especially with the crowd and the skill level. And we didn't do too well. I think we won the bronze medal the first year and then lost in the bronze medal game the second year, which was in Russia.
Yeah.
But two like completely different experiences, but just one being in Canada and one being in Russia. It was cool to see both experiences, and it definitely helped me, with the crowds and getting to see other guys from other leagues and see guys from around the world, the best talent around the world at that point. And definitely a cool experience. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Do you notice a difference, like even playing in the NHL, obviously you think of like the World Juniors, international play and stuff, but do you notice a difference in how Russians play, Finnish players play, Swedish players play, North American players, or even Canada to US? Like, do you notice any differences between those different countries and how they play and how they develop? Well, we all develop, right? So yeah, go ahead.
Kind of eye-opening for that. I at the time had no idea, and when the World Juniors was going on, like I didn't know the style that each team played, and now I can tell almost by seeing a guy play is like I could tell what country you're from. You know, like
Yeah.
they all have their certain styles, and it's pretty cool because it's such a tight tournament, right? Every team's so good now that you kind of know the American game, I guess. But it was eye-opening to see the Finns, the Swedes, like you said, the Russians. So it was cool that way for sure.
How would you differentiate those different countries? Like, if you even think of guys on your team that you play against, stuff like what kind of, I guess, skill set would you give, or kind of hockey sense would you give to those different countries? Because the way I kind of see it just quickly is like Canada's like chip, chase, hit, play hard. Like, and not to say there's not a ton of skilled players in there, right? But and then you look at like even like Russia, they don't like giving up the puck. They want to keep the puck as much as they can. You know what I mean? You look at the Swedes, like little like dishes, give and goes, things like that. But is there anything that pops out with you, these different countries, on how they, because the training models some of these countries have are very intense, man. Like when you're 7 years old as a hockey player, like we look at Canadian young kids and we think that all the parents are crazy and the minor hockey system's messed up, and it kind of is. But man, some of those other countries, it's like way more intense for those elite 9-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like they're in the program, So, but yeah, is there anything that kind of pops off with you of any of the different nationalities as far as how they play?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. Like, Canada can kind of be a mix. Play the skilled game or like the hard game. Russia's obviously very skilled and doesn't like to dump it in. They'll turn back, and that's just as hard to play against. Sometimes when you're not used to it, right? So, the Swedes are very much like that with the puck possession and holding the puck a lot, and not just coming in shooting it. They're looking for the perfect shot, whatever it is. But I think I was more like thrown back of how skilled everybody was around the world at that age. I guess you just see the North Americans and the OHL, right? So you see some Americans, and then you see Canadians, and then to see the other countries, the Finns come in and they're a great team. It's like, wow, you never realize that when you're so young here. So I think that was more eye-opening than anything.
It is unreal though when you play, and like even like as a youngster, and we talk about spring hockey as like, oh man, it's a wild west. Like, do you do it? Do you not do it? Right? And this is kind of a question for you as well as a comment, but did you play spring hockey growing up, or like kind of that spring league? Because I think when you even go to spring tournaments in Toronto or different areas where you see all these like elite players, it's kind of a measuring stick. Like the World Juniors for you is like, whoa, man, like this is like, I'm seeing kids I've never seen before. So you come out of like Sudbury or Barrie or London or Chatham, and you go play in a big tournament in Toronto, and you're like, whoa, these kids are not that you won't fit in, but at first you're a little intimidated, right? You're like, holy shit.
It is comparable for sure. I mean, that's growing up, I did play spring hockey, 3 or 4 tournaments a year, I think in May or whatever it is. And, all over the place, somewhere in the States, somewhere in Canada. And I think that was the first time you see, Chicago teams or New York teams.
Right.
So you're seeing a lot of different, players, even players from the West Coast, East Coast in Canada. So you're used to just playing around, for me personally, around London, and, you see the Windsor guys, Toronto guys, whatever. But, there's a lot more players that kind of get together and play in those spring hockey tournaments. Like you said, it's kind of more of a showcase for North America, I guess you'd call it. So it was pretty cool to play. You see players there, and then you didn't think about it, and then a couple of years later you're playing against them in the OHL or wherever it is. So it's cool to experience that, I guess.
No, definitely. And that's something too, Mitch. We talked about this as well as like with training and playing and stuff, like getting yourself around like good players. So whether it's training, getting some other guys that are motivated, or girls that are motivated, that want to get better, want to push, like and then if you're playing, like get on teams that are sometimes if you can play spring hockey or whatever, that's great, or AA, AAA, but push yourself a little bit, but get in front of, like, get around those other players that are elite. It's so huge,
Yeah, and I think another thing we were chatting about too is the like multi-sport stuff. When you were younger, we've asked everyone kind of this question: Did you play any other sports other than hockey, or were you? I mean, I know you grew up on a farm, right? And you were probably pretty physical that way too, outside of hockey. But were there any other sports?
Yeah, lacrosse. That was my sport in the summer.
And you played that up till at what age? Like
I'd have to say Bantam. It was
Bantam.
Minor Bantam or Major Bantam. So a couple years before my
Like,
draft year.
13,
And that's
14.
usually, yeah.
Yeah. So hockey would end. You'd have some spring hockey going on, which is just weekend tournaments. So you'd play lacrosse during the week. It started like May. I think I remember the best part about lacrosse, it was done by the end of June. And then July, August, it was just like golf or hang around the house, hang with friends, whatever. Those were kind of off months until, I got older and started training, obviously, in those months. But growing up the whole way, I don't know how many years it would have been, probably 6 at least of lacrosse, just playing in London there. And then, when I'm really young, like soccer and that stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
I barely remember that. So, but I remember lacrosse.
Lacrosse,
and love the sport. And, it was exciting. I was excited to go play lacrosse too at the same point, right? And then you take the 2-month, break off, and you're excited to get back to hockey in September. So, or August, maybe the tryouts were, and then start in September. So, I liked how it was broken up that way. I think you get excited for both sports, and obviously the hockey season was a lot longer, but lacrosse was a lot of fun for me.
Was that when you transitioned right to hockey? Was that partially because you were doing more hockey specific training in the off season, or is it a decision that you made entirely, or were coaches kind of saying maybe you got to start doing more of this or that in the off season other than lacrosse?
Yeah, I was, like I said, 2 or 3 years before the OHL draft, and I got to see my brother go through the OHL draft and stuff like that. So I think I was just at the age where I was like, that's what I want to do, and try to put more focus towards that. Lacrosse was fun, like I said, but to start, just thinking about hockey and put my mind towards that in the summer to start getting better and do more skating and stuff. So I think that helped me the next couple of years, leading up to the draft. So I think it was a good time to, stop, but I'm still happy I played lacrosse all those years and didn't do the hockey full year round, at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something we always preach to kids, that they should be taking some time off and doing other stuff, especially at those younger ages.
Yeah, it's a different sport. You meet different friends. It's a different team. You can learn a lot of things about, a team or a sport, It's just not hockey or not hockey players. You're dealing with other guys, So some guys on the lacrosse team didn't even play hockey. A lot of guys did, but a lot wouldn't too. So it's just different, getting different guys together, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, for sure, man. Is there anything right now, like playing in the NHL, that you've picked up or that you do like outside of the game? Like, and I'm giving you an example here, but like when I was playing, I was bored because when I was like my first couple of years pro, I ended up picking up like guitar. My brother and sister are both musicians. They both had albums out. I couldn't play, and like I played piano when I was young. Terrible, right? So I picked up a guitar. It was, and I was, trying to, and I learned a little bit. I could play a little bit, but is there anything that you've done, like whether it's like getting into the stock market, getting into reading more, getting into like whatever, but is there anything that you've done that you've noticed over the last little bit where like, are you the guy now that comes in the locker room and has a newspaper and like reads the newspaper?
No. I know exactly what you mean. You kind of need that, a little out or an interest, I guess. And I guess the last year there's been a lot just with the COVID and all that.
For sure. Yeah, totally.
I've tried guitar probably 2 or 3 times. My
roommate,
it hasn't worked out. So it's sitting over there, but just an art piece at this point. But my roommate, my first and second year in Columbus, Ryan Murray, was really good at guitar, and okay, I'll buy one. He'll teach me. Went about a month, and it's not because of him. I gave up on it more so, and so it may not be for me. So I think I've tried a lot of different things, even the stock market or listening to podcasts, different things. But I mean, I don't really have one right now, I guess. I mean, in COVID, I actually started playing video games for the first time. I think that's just more COVID related.
Cool.
Being in lockdown last year for a few months, but
what are you playing?
That was just more to talk to the guys on the mic.
Totally.
It's more of a social thing, So catch up with the 100%. Guys. Not very good at that still, but
what are you playing though? What games are you playing?
Is it Call of Duty?
Yeah.
So
this is like aging myself, man. But when I was playing, and my roommate and I, we would like literally have practice, do our thing, whatever. And then when we'd shower and we'd be like at the same time leaving the rink, we would race home
to get on
and
there.
get the best joystick to play Call of Duty. And we would play Call of Duty for like 5 hours in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It kills time for sure.
It's unbelievable, man. It's addictive. Like you think you're like, I got to get back in the game. Like,
exactly. Take a couple of weeks off. You're not very good. You're rested. I know. Yeah. So there's like 5 or 6 of us that bought those, Xboxes and stuff when COVID hit. So we still kind of do that a little bit, and just different stuff. Reading.
Good.
Go through.
You got the pup now too, right?
What's that?
You got the new pup now. That's got to take a little bit of training and stuff like that. Yeah, totally.
That was fun for sure.
Yeah.
So
how old's the pup?
5 months now.
Okay.
5 months the other day. So he's still learning, but that's a lot of fun. I mean,
so you guys. So you're still talking about like, did he poo today? How did he poo? Did he pee today?
Yeah, exactly. Where was it?
Isn't that crazy? Well, honestly, man. My wife and I, we got together, and then we got a dog. This is years ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm a dog person, man. I'm talking about my dog pooing, my dog peeing. Like this is like can't talk to anybody about this." And then you have kids, Booner, and it's the same thing. You're like, did he pee today? Did he poo today? And then the dog that was on top of the dog was on the mantle. The dog becomes the bottom of the totem pole in like a day. It's crazy.
I bet. I mean, that's funny. It's like, before I, got the dog, it was, when you hear someone talk about their dog, it's like, yeah, okay. And then now it's like, I mean, if I'm talking with someone else that has a dog, it's all you talk about is your dog and my dog.
You're that guy.
Exactly. I'm like, I totally get it now. Like, after all these years, like, okay, I understand. It's funny how it works.
It's kids are the same thing, man. You go to a party, someone's talking about their kids. Oh, they did this. You're like, they're so annoying. And then you have kids, you're like, you kind of want to talk about your kids.
It's a 2-hour combo about it, and it's hilarious. Exactly.
It's the best, man. Yeah.
No, but that's been fun. Got
that's good.
Harley, so
yeah,
he's been fun.
And do you find that you've gotten to know like way more neighbors and stuff now? Because you're like, well, I know you're just coming out of it, but like you're just walking around now. People are like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, you live here, and like,
right?
I
mean,
it's a combo opener too.
In a big buildings, and there's one little park out front. And I mean, we joke all the time, but we don't know the owner's names. We just know the dog name. So it's like I saw the dog's name, and the dog's name's mom and dad. That's it.
Yeah,
you forget their names, but you know every dog out there.
Yeah,
the dog's name out there, but you forget the parents' names. So that's kind of funny, but it's funny how it works.
No, 100%. I want to talk just a little bit. I want to get into a little bit about training with you too, Booner, because I know like you've obviously had 8 years and you play hard. You're not a perimeter guy. You're a go to the net guy. You're playing hard areas guy. How much do you find that your training's changed over the last bunch of years? You know what I mean? And like you've been like, 500 something games and 500, I think 30 something in 8 years is awesome. Like you haven't missed a ton. You missed a little bit of time here and there, but how has your training changed from, back, let's say 8 years ago to now? And if you think a little bit along the way, like what have you done differently? What are some things that are really important to you now that have kind of changed from, back in the day type thing?
Yeah, it's changed, quite a bit. I think, when you first start working out, you don't really know too much about it, and kind of trying to lift as much as you can and do this, squat as much as you can, run as fast as you can, and all that. And, the last couple of years, it's kind of more of you got to be doing it in the right, your body's got to be moving the right way, and to be able to get there. You can't just pick it up and do it. If you're doing it wrong, it's going to hurt you more than help you. Mitch can touch on this. He's been a big part of it, but a lot of other things I would say is, for me, is your core muscles and all your small muscles. You're not just working out, your pec, your bicep, and your quad. It's a lot more muscles and shoulder muscles and back muscles and core muscles and hip muscles, and everything that goes into it that makes a big difference. I think you get all that straight, and then you can start building from there. You kind of have to have that foundation, and that's the last couple of years that really opened my eyes to that. And it's helped me, tremendously. I mean, your body feels way better. You feel just as strong. Say you're not lifting as much, but you can get there a lot quicker if you want to, as long as everything else is good, and it's not going to hurt you, I guess. So
yeah,
it's the main thing I've learned. In the last few years. I think you're always looking for something every summer, a little, you hear something or someone's trying something you want to try and you want to learn each summer. And I think you can learn more and more about your body every summer, what works for you and what doesn't. So it's constantly, you're thinking about it and you're trying to work on it, with guys like Mitch and yourself, even on the ice, right? So, it's fun. I really enjoy that part of it now is coming back and trying to see what we can do different or what we can tweak and, get you to that next level, I guess.
Do you, and I'm going to put Mitch on the spot here a little bit, but like, do you think, because the one thing I remember, like, again, back in the day, but like I did a lot of stupid things and I worked out too long. I spent way too much time in the gym. Like when I look at it overall, like I probably wasted a lot of time. You know what I mean? Thinking I was doing the right things, thinking I was, getting the workout in or whatever. But do you find that like meeting a guy like, and I'm being biased here to Mitch because I love him and I think he does a really good job, but like meeting a guy like Mitch and starting to go through his workouts, did it kind of change a little bit? Like, and I'm not, there's other guys out there and girls out there like Mitch, but Mitch is very dialed in, very like into what you need, right? So was that a bit of an eye opener for you too when he started to like kind of look at you and say, no, you need this, you need this, you need this? Because it was a couple of years ago that you came and like, I need a bit of a change. I want to try something different. And then, you and Mitch connected.
Absolutely,
and,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, that's kind of when it opened my eyes to that. And, just meeting Mitch and then a couple days in, he, gets to know your body, gets to know how it's moving, what's, working well, what's not working well, and make those changes, he'll put it into your program. You work on that. And like I said, that kind of builds your foundation of, hey, if you want to be here, you're not going to get there unless, you start here and you have to build it up the right way. So I think that was, a big testament to Mitch and how he knows each of our bodies and what works well for us, what, might not work for this guy, but it works for this guy and what he needs to work on it as opposed to him. Everyone's body's different, right? So, for him to know what each of us need. And I think the other guys would say the same thing, right? So, it's been great, working with him. And like I said, the last few years is probably the best I've felt that way.
It's awesome,
in the
man.
gym. And then
Appreciate
I think
the
that
pump
carries onto the ice, obviously, right? So,
yeah. And I mean, feel free to shit on him too. I mean, you can totally.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the pump up there, guys.
No, but I think it's
it is true. I mean,
yeah. And the reason I asked,
the finishers are questionable,
There you go.
Yeah, totally. It's funny, Booner. So Mitch was putting out videos right at the start of COVID, like a year ago. And he was putting out these like a bunch of videos for like at home workouts and stuff. And I was doing them. I had my kids at home. My wife was working and I was doing them. They were great. And I was posting some videos about him and put them on Instagram, just like promote what he's doing. I thought it was great. But then every once in a while we'd be doing a workout. It's like 40 minutes in. I'm 40 plus. I'm good. Like I'm tapped out. Yeah. I'm good. And then he's like, all right, we got a little bonus round here. And I'm like, and I would text him like, you motherfucker, what are you doing right now, man? This is brutal. Like to your point, it's always like little sneaky little like FUs in the work.
Little finisher.
Yeah. Totally.
Have to throw that in there and you just want to shut it off so bad. I know.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of times, all right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's good to push, that little extra too. So,
we need to get in the gym. Actually, Booner's a circle. So that whenever you guys are done, like the vets are doing the NHL, you just go down in the circle, you get down on your knees and start stretching out. And then practice is over, right? Practice is over. Yeah.
Wrap it up, grab a foam roller.
Let's go. We're done. Yeah. We're done. Yeah. No, I wanted to bring that up because I think it's really important when parents are out there and they're looking for strength coaches, they're looking for people to help them out. And they don't know what to look for. And I think the biggest thing is getting that connection that they get you, they understand you, they know what you want, what you need, but also they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like they're giving you, and you're getting results. So you know what I mean? Like you're maybe at a bad shoulder, bad back, whatever, but you're getting those results. And I think that's a huge part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, now that he's gone, I can pump his tires a little more, but he looks at every aspect, right? It's not just the strength, it's stretching and help with the food. It'll help with your cardio, speed, quickness, all that. So he, touches on everything. It's not just strength, or it's not just, I want to get strong. It's just a lot of other aspects.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good, bud.
I didn't hear anything you just said. So
good.
So you guys got all the carving out of the way there, and And I'm
We
back.
want you to hear
I
it
don't know what
anyway.
happened.
You're talking about your tight jeans. And,
Yeah, nice.
And
Yeah,
Dwight-
COVID
perfect.
workouts.
yeah.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you asked that question, Blazer. I was thinking the same thing, and that was awesome to hear you just even talk about how your mindset's changed, Boone. Like from the beginning to now, like from when you first started training. It's like you said, and I see it with a lot of young guys. They just want to lift the most they can, run the fastest they can, and I think that process sometimes is important too for kids to just try to go full throttle at 15, 16 years old and feel what it feels like, and then you gotta learn that it's more than that. It's
like, I get it, because everyone starts working out, kind of at the same age, and your buddies are lifting more, and you want to get there, right? So everyone starts. But I think, once you start to learn a little bit more, it's not so much about what he can do on me. You know what I mean? It's what works for you personally. So I think that's a big thing. That's I mean, everyone kind of goes through it, right? So I think the quicker you can maybe learn it as a kid, it'll probably benefit you more.
Yeah, like we'll put a dowel on your kid's back or something like that. Like, all right, we're gonna practice this hinge pattern or whatever, and they're looking at you like, "Come on, man! Like, are you kidding me?"
Give me the barbell.
And then we'll do that for a bit. Then we'll give them a bar. They're like, "Can I just put a little more on?" So, I mean, you're not very good at this, but yeah, sure, give it a try once, and then it's okay. You're not doing that again.
Yeah, exactly.
And but it's a process for sure, and it's fun to feel the difference too, I think. Like, because I mean, I've gone through the same thing when I was 15, 16 years old, not training for hockey necessarily, but pretty much just beating the crap out of my body, trying to lift as much as I can. And when you make that change and you bring more purpose to your training, and the purpose isn't just putting more weight on the bar or running at a faster time. I mean, that purpose is still there, but you have more intention around every single exercise that you're doing, which I think makes training, I know for me personally, even now, a lot more fun. Like, you're not just going in and throwing weights around, but there's more purpose to the whole session than just lifting stuff up, and I think it's key to have that realization of eventually for everyone. And I appreciate all the kind words.
When you're off, we were saying.
Okay. I'll have to listen to it later. I'll have to tune into the recording.
But like, even coming from like an old bugger like me, like I've never done a one leg, like a pistol squat. I think it is, right, Mitch, with one leg, like where you go down
squats, pistol squats,
down one leg, right? I never really, I did it when I was younger for sure, but not like. And it's something I wanted to do not over COVID, but over the time this last year, whatever. It's something I was working on, and no weight. Like, I can add a little bit of weight to it now, but like no weight. And it's something that, like, for me, even as an older guy, I'm like, it's not even a hard exercise. It does get hard, obviously, if you do a number of reps, but it's like just controlling your body, not like falling over on one leg, which I was doing all the time when I first started doing it. But I'm actually like, this, I never said this to anybody. So internally, I'm kind of proud that I can do this now, where I can get down to a pistol squat, get back up, and even do like, a woodpecker or like, one-legged hamstring, and then come back out to it. Right. So I'm like, but those are things, to your point, that's a boring exercise, man. There's no weight to it. There's no tempo to it. There's no like, but is it effective? Like, yeah, for a young guy, if a young kid could do that at 10, 12, 13 and control his body that way or her body that way and be able to do it, like, those are so, I think that's the other thing. Good strength coaches that understand the game, know what's going on, and know what you need, and not just putting you in situations that aren't going to, that are, it's great, you did 300 pounds on the squats. That's awesome. But is that really what you need? Like, probably not. You know what I mean? So at that point, so I think it's, that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, because I think it's something that, like, a lot of parents and even coaches need to understand. Like, it's maybe that guy or that girl's not the best strength coach. Like, they're just pumping them through routines and weights, and they have no idea what they're kind of focusing on. You know what I mean? So, if you go ahead, Mitch. Yeah,
I was going to say, just to touch on that one more time, so we'll have Boone reiterate this, but like, when we're saying all this technical stuff, it doesn't mean the workouts are easy either. I think a lot of people sometimes think we're like, oh, we're talking about technique and we're talking about, doing it at a whatever pace or tempo. Like, oh, well, those are easy workouts. Like, maybe in the process of learning how to do stuff properly, there's some easier. It is a little easier, but once you dial that stuff in, like, they're not easy workouts. And Boone's hit some like all time. Boone's hit some all-time PRs on exercises like trap bar and all that. Not right away, but after training for a little while at lower loads, then the body feels good and you can do way more because you feel great, because you feel good. But yeah. But
Sure,
anyways, what were you going to say there, Blazer?
Oh, I was gonna say I got a couple questions that came in. I got a couple that came in like offline, a couple that came in online. But I'll give it to you, Booner, and feel free to answer it how you like. But do you have any tips for shorter players, like hitting and just in general, like since seeing guys like Nathan Gerby and guys like Goudreau, like how do those shorter players have success at high levels? Like when you think of the small guys that you play against, like why are they hard to play against? Especially some even you think of Goudreau, you think of Gallagher.
Just off the top of my head, I'd probably have Gerby and Cam Atkinson on my team as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Two kind of different style players, but are both smaller players around the league. And I think Cam, you kind of call him the water bug, where he's buzzing around in the corners doing his cutbacks, and he's so hard to contain, and he gets so much free ice that way. And I think the thing with them is that they're really small and shifty, but they still go to the hard areas. And like even as a big guy, it's hard to move them out of there because they're so quick at getting in there and their timing's so good. They score a lot of goals right inside the blue like a big guy would or whatever. So I think for a smaller guy, I mean, I don't see much difference. I think there's so many good players around the league that are big or small right now. So, I think everyone's, I think a Gerby, for instance, he's not scared of anything. He goes in on a forecheck like he's 6'4", so where Cam is more just, he gets the puck and he's so dangerous, he's so elusive when he gets it. So that'd be my answer, I guess.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, it's good. I think a lot of what you said is exactly what I would say. Like the other thing too, with a small guy, I was a small guy when I played. So if you're small, you like, I know I was like this. I had small man syndrome. If you call me short or bald, I'd try to punch you in the face. Like I was like 100% full disclosure. Like I was that guy. Like I just sort of got man in junior, like this is years ago, but I had a rule that if a guy asked me to fight, 100% I'm going to fight him. Like it didn't matter who it was. And there was times like we were OT or like, there was a game 7 or we were in a big game. Like I'd say no, but yeah, you call me on, I'm never backing down. And that's was my thing. Right. So as a smaller guy though, I think the big thing is playing like you're 6'4", just like you said, like playing like you're a big guy, just going in and hitting, not crazy, just finishing your hit, going to the net, all that stuff. Or you're a small guy who's like crazy skilled. Like a Johnny Goudreau. He's not going to go and like spear you. You know what I mean? He's not going to go try to pick anything with you, but he still plays kind of tough. Like, and I mean, tough as in like, he'll take a slash, he'll go to the net. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's
hard to play against, for sure.
Yeah. Right. So, but he's also very, very skilled. So you can kind of like, if you look at the barometer, you've got like your smalls, you got to be kind of tough and play hard, or you got to be really skilled and still play. If you're small, skilled and soft, it's really hard to play in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Or like in the NHL, right? Like, let's be honest. If you're small, skilled, and a little bit of toughness, you can play. If you're small and tough, you may have a chance to play. You know what I mean? Play in a situation. But yeah, I think that's the big thing. It's like you got to have some toughness no matter what. But if you're 6'4" and you're soft and you have crazy skill, you might get by a little bit and play a little bit until guys find out. But it's a lot different for the small guys. So I think that was great advice by you, Booner, as well. But I think it's you gotta have either high skill or some toughness to you as well. And I think as a small guy, you got to be quick. You don't have to be darty. You don't have to be like fast guy in the league. But Atkinson's got some speed, man. Like Gerby's got some speed. They got some like little bit of pop to them. I think that's huge too, right? Yeah. I had a question come to me today by a buddy of mine, and he'd asked Booner, like why did he make the NHL? And I'm not saying that in a rude way. It's just your second round pick to the end to Columbus, which is awesome, obviously. But the big knock on you was like, oh, I can't skate, and like obviously you had grit, you had grind, you had all that stuff. But the question more was posed to like, in your mind and stuff like that, obviously you always wanted to play in the NHL, but what drove you to play in the NHL? Like, what were the things like, I'm going to play in the NHL because this is like what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this to be able to get there. Like, what were some of the things for you that like got you into the NHL?
I think, when you for me, I guess it was, in the OHL with the NHL draft coming up. And I mean, it's you're so new to everything, right? And I think the eye-opening thing for me was going to Columbus for development camp and training camp and seeing all the other guys and the draft picks. And I'd say that really when it hit home for me, it was kind of the camp before I made the team. It was like the year before where I was like, I didn't really have a great camp, but that really motivated me because I was looking forward to going into that camp and, trying to look good. And I, didn't have the greatest camp. So I think that next full year, I had a year to think about it and be ready. And I kind of just went into that camp where this is what I want to do. I want to make the team. And I think, it comes with opportunity and taking advantage of that opportunity. It could be 1 or 2 games, it could be whatever, a practice, a scrimmage, trying to take advantage of that opportunity. And that opportunity was that camp for me. And it went well. I just tried to do anything I could, try to look at the team. What do they need? Where can I slot in and try to just play that role. And then once, you get there, you want to just keep moving up from there. But at the time, I think, I was just always driven to be on that team, I guess you'd say. I mean,
Yeah.
As soon as I got to Columbus, I'm like, this is where I want to be. This is the team I want to be on. So I just kind of try to work as hard as I could to get, there. And like I said, you need the opportunity. And I got the opportunity at that camp and had a couple camps underneath my belt at that time, kind of knew what to expect. So I think that really helped me. It wasn't, I knew some guys, knew the team a little bit more, the coaches and everything. So, I was just really focused on that particular camp, coming off kind of a not great one that I was happy with. So
Yeah.
I think that motivation too helped me.
I got to ask you because I always ask players, like, players will tell me, like, I want to play junior or I want to play AAA or I want to play in the NHL or whatever it is, right? And I always like, well, how bad do you want it, And they're always like, oh, no, I want it bad. I'm like, no, how bad do you fucking want it? Like, what are you willing to do to make that next step to that level? Because as well, you went through the steps, man, and you grinded it. Like, obviously you were a high draft pick. You played in the World Juniors. Like, your path was probably like not easy at all, but I'm just saying, like, you had a smoother path. But did you have that voice in your head that was like, I got to do more. I got to do more. And I know your family and I know your background and we probably get in this a little bit, but like, you're not from like a country club family. You're from like a farmer, older brother taking slap shots on you and you're tipping them with nothing on. Like, you're from, 3 boys beating the crap out of each other. Like, you're probably working on the farm, you're doing stuff. Like, it's like, no, hard work is part of what we do. And, so you go to camp, you lay a bit of an egg in your mind. You're like, I didn't do well. Like, when you go back the next year, is like, I'm taking that guy's job, man. Like, in your mind, like, cause I know I was like that. Like, I was like, when I went to places and I was on the 3rd line, like, I'm stealing that 2nd line center spot. Like, I love the guy. He's a great guy. He's my teammate, but I don't give a shit. I'm taking his job, and I'm not saying like that you're that you're like always gunning for the other thing, but it's like when you want to get to that point, like, what was your mindset like there? Were you kind of had that voice in your head?
I will say it was kind of like you said, you want to play in the OHL. I think that was my first goal, is getting drafted to the OHL. And I think, a year before that, I worked as hard as I could to get there. And as soon as I got there, it was almost like, okay, what I did this past year worked almost, like hard work worked. And, now I want to get drafted to the NHL. Okay, well, that's going to be harder. So I knew you had to work a little harder, do a little extra here, do this. Then it's like, boom, okay, that worked. Now I want to play for the World Juniors. Got to, put in more then. So it just keeps elevating. And I think your goals change every year. And if you're talking about going from, the OHL to the NHL, it's a big step and you're going to have to put in a lot more than what got you to the OHL, I guess. So that's kind of the way I looked at it, honestly, was, all right, I just worked as hard as I could for a year and now I'm here. Like, I got to do it again, plus some, see what happens there, like, leave no stone unturned, kind of just do it all you can. And, if it works, it works. So that's kind of, the mentality that way. And I think every year, I know it's the NHL and it's like, okay, what steps, but I still think my goals change every year, is where I want to put in. I have to put in more each year to
Right.
achieve those or get to where I want to be. So
Yeah.
just the way I look at it.
Oh, I love it, man. Yeah. And I think like for anything, right, Mitch, like whether you're trying to get a better body or you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to get faster, whatever, you got to put the work in, man. And that's the bottom line. Like yeah, I guarantee right now you can go on Amazon and find a pill that'll get you faster in a minute. Like, right?
Nice.
But it's,
Yeah.
you
Well,
gotta put the work in, man. And it's, yeah.
Well, and what I've seen over the years too is like the guys that, for example, you said the first camp wasn't your best camp. Some guys walk away from that and they're like, oh shit, like fuck, it wasn't very good. I guess I just can't do it. Whereas other guys, they have those experiences. Everyone has, like, call it a failure or a shortcoming, but then you walk away from it and in your own mind, you're like, well, that means I need to work harder. So it's either I'm going to work harder or I'm not cut out for this. And so the guys that have that mindset of I'm not cut out for this usually don't make those jumps.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, totally.
it's
right.
awesome.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that's huge, man. And that voice in your head, I just had another call with a good buddy of mine from back home, and he was a baseball player. And I talked to him. I'm like, hey, do you ever have this voice in your head when you're younger? Like, and I've never really talked to anybody about this, to be honest with you. And I think we all have a voice in our head. I talk to myself all the time. Like I have a buddy in my head that I talk to all the time. Like, just, right? Like, just, you're an idiot. What, like, why'd you go to bed? Right? Like that voice. Right? So
Yeah.
I don't like him half the time, but
Absolutely.
sometimes like, oh, just grab one more beer. I like that guy, but I don't like the other guy. But I have that voice in your head where like, why are you going for a run right now? Like it's 6 o'clock at night, whatever it is, right? Or 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is. But like, because my voice in my head's like, you need to do something, and a lot of people can shut that voice down, be like, no, Netflix is way better, or I just want to go to bed, which is fine, right? But I think that voice, man, is what I know for me personally, that's what drove me. Like that voice in my head was, thank God it was positive, or it was very negative. It shamed me a lot to get to do my things I needed to do. You know what I mean? Like it. So I think and I haven't even talked to anybody about this. And I was talking to him, my buddy, about this, and he's like, yeah, 100%. Like I have a voice in my head too. Like that, I right. I think we all do, right?
How you push yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Sometimes like, I think, you're
people who push themselves they got that.
Right.
If you don't push yourself, you might not. If you can push yourself, you definitely got it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Kind of comes down to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think those are like, for young kids too, like, we think sometimes like, man, they're working really hard, but they don't know what hard work is. Like they have no idea. And I'm not saying like mortgages and getting a job. I don't mean that. It's just like they get to a threshold of like the beep test, for instance, a great example. Beep test, they get to level 7 and they're like shutting her down. Like, come on, dude. Like that's embarrassing, man. You just shut them mentally. Like you're a mental mushroom. Like you need to go, so, and then the next time they do it, they do 11. Like, that's amazing, man. You jump 3 or 4 levels. Like, so it's like you can battle, more than you think you can. I think that's
a lot up top. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's a big part of playing the NHL for years, man, is like battling through, because you go through, everyone thinks you got a cushy job, Boone, you play in the NHL, you make money, it's great, you travel, it's all awesome. But I mean, if you show up in game 54 and you're on the 4th line or you're on the taxi squad, like mentally that just like, wow, like that's,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely a lot of highs and lows that way.
Right. Yeah. There's a grind there, man, of playing a bad game, whatever. Right. So totally.
Keeping an even keel, or keeping, knowing yourself and knowing what you can do and what makes you successful. So it's easy to turn the other way, right? But that won't get you too far, I guess. So there's always challenging times. I think the more you go through it, the more you learn about yourself that way and how you can get out of it. The quicker the better, obviously. So you learn a lot about yourself that way.
Oh, for sure, man. Definitely. Okay, I'll throw another question up here for you, Booner, and that's kind of got cut off. I'll read the rest of it. But do you think there's been a recent surge in creativity? Like, for instance, when I see Pasternak thread the puck through his legs and go hard to the net, I can't recall seeing players doing this last 20 years ago, like doing the same thing. What do you think of the league, though? So even 8 years ago, never mind 20 years ago, because I agree. I think 20 years ago it's changed tremendously. But even 8 years ago, 5 years ago to now, how different is the league and the skill set when you guys see guys like McDavid and Matthews and McKinnon and Makar and Hughes that come in the league? How different has it been?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I have seen a surge in creativity. I think even from my first year, like you said, 8 years ago till now, the skill level, I think, has gone up, a lot. There's definitely skilled players then too, but guys are trying different things. I think it kind of goes from, the speed aspect. I think the game's gotten a lot faster where a lot of these guys can make the same plays, but they're just moving a lot quicker than guys I
Totally.
guess in the past are doing. So it's
Yeah.
pretty spectacular, and that's where it's kind of like the skills going up. It's the skill and the speed. These guys are doing it at a high speeds, high level, in traffic. It's pretty impressive, and I definitely do think there's a lot more skill in the game, a little less of the grinding, but the grinding's still there. So I think it's a mix of both, but I definitely see a surge in the creativity and the things guys are trying. I guess like you see all the goals from behind the net, scooping it up and tucking it in, and I don't think that happened or anything like that. So I definitely agree with them.
Yeah. Stuff that was happening in practices is happening more in games now too.
Yeah, I think guys. Yeah, absolutely. Like you try something in practice, it works, and guys aren't afraid to try it in the game now.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree, man, and I agree with you. I think the other thing too is it's like, for instance, if you Booner in junior or even before put the puck through your legs and like try to score a goal, like your dad was coaching you maybe in minor hockey, or your junior coach would be like, "What are you doing, man? Like putting your puck through your legs." Like I know when I was doing it, if I did that when I was young, I would have got benched, or my coach would have lost his mind, or one of my teammates would have punched me in the face. Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, and now
it's kind of that mindset. Yeah.
And even as coaches, like we're teaching more of that stuff. Like for instance, like the Michigan goal, I think is awesome. It's a great goal, but how many guys in the league are pulling that off and have the balls to pull that off? Right. So is it an applicable skill? Probably not overall to skill development, but some guys are going to try it, right? Putting the puck through your legs. I think that is something that actually works, man. You can pull it pull through your legs, protect it, so
a lot of, you can use it
right?
all over the ice, I guess.
Yeah, like corners, on one-on-ones, on whatever, right? There's certain things that I think are very game applicable, and I love the creativity. I love how guys are getting more creative and players get more creative, skill coaches are getting more creative, and I think it just elevates the game. But at the same time, Booner, with all that said, okay, about these high end, like, and we look at like McKinnon's and McDavid's, like, what are those? Those are like 1% of the league, right?
Yeah.
2-3% of the league of like high end. Maybe every team has one guy who's like really, really, really high end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you, and I this is something I was thinking about today, and I was like, okay, put your Superman cape on right now and tell me, like, what are like the 3 or 4 main skills that you would need as like Superman to be really good in the league? And I'm not saying like scooping pucks, but like when you think of the NHL, or even playing like, going from like minor midget to junior and junior to the NHL, like what are 3 or 4 skills that would be like, if I just was better at this, I would 100%, like that would help me speed up my trajectory or whatever it is. But is there anything? It could be 1, could be 2, could be 5 skills, doesn't matter. But is there anything that kind of pops in as far as like, man, these are things that are huge at the next level?
I think, you can, I don't want to go too broad, with the skating and the puck skills and hockey IQ. I think everyone knows that. I think one that's big would be like being hard on a puck or being able to protect a puck. I think that's a big skill when say you're a smaller guy or a bigger guy, you're gonna have to protect pucks. You want to be able to hold on to pucks and all that. So you got that. You got to be able to think the game. I think you can always it's hard to like say narrow down working on hockey IQ, but I do think you can work on it. And, I think that decision making with the puck a little quicker, I think that will help a lot. I think, kind of seeing the play or trying to make a decision quicker, moving that puck that split second quicker can go a long way as well. So those are 2 things that, came into my head. I think, obviously, with the hockey sense, skating, puck skills, competitiveness, you're going to need that no matter what. But I think, those are just 2 other things, I guess, I would add that would help you at the next level that you're trying to get to, I guess. along with those things, I think you obviously have to work on those as well.
I love it, man. No, it's good. And even like I think, when you mentioned puck protection, I think that's such a big thing, like, to have a puck and hang on to it, right? And don't, be able to make a play with
It's
it.
a little thing, but hey, you're going to have the puck on your stick more, and you're going to make more plays, more things are going to open up.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there's a big aspect in that of, someone comes and you're just, doing headlights, you want to get rid of it quick.
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to be easy to check and easy to play against, I guess, so.
Yeah. What do you think of Booner? What do you think of deception? Like adding deception to your game? Like it's just like
something, the last few years,
yeah,
that you hear, a lot of skills coaches or whatever that people work on, and it's a huge skill. I think, looking one way, passing back this way, I think that's big, faking a shot, sliding it over, getting the D man to bite on, trying to block the shot and sliding it over. Those are the things that come into my head with deception, looking one way, or you have your hand set one way and it goes the other way. I think that goes a long way.
Totally.
And it's hard to check. I mean, I've played, I think the most deceptive guy is Panarin, and I got to play with him for a couple of years, and
he's so good.
I still didn't, after a couple of years, still wouldn't know where the puck was going. Across the blue line, like, it could be on that guy's stick back door or there, or short side cheese off the stick. Like, you don't know. And I think it's so hard to, it's scary. Like, this could be anywhere. This could be a laser top corner, or he's feeding it through the seam. Like, it's hard to check. So
no,
it's definitely something that we work on now. And
for sure,
it's definitely a big skill.
That's something that, as a skills coach for me, that's something that I've taken to the next level, man. Everything's got to be deceptive. You cannot look at the puck. You cannot look at where you're going with the puck. You need to throw a layer or two of deception to somebody.
That's a big one. Yeah, you're right.
It's so huge, right? And I think the other things that you mentioned are awesome, man. For young players, I think those are huge. Like, those fundamental skills are massive, man. 100%. Okay, what we'll do, I know we got a lot of your time here, Booner, and I know you got to get to bed because you're getting old, but
what do we got tomorrow? Mitch, it depends. Hey, what's on this?
Tomorrow's not too bad. We got a structural day. It won't be too bad. Hey, real quick though, I was just thinking. So we've had this question a couple times. Like, someone a couple weeks ago asked, can you work on hockey IQ? And you mentioned hockey IQ before. Now, what are some ways that you think that players, like young players, can work on developing their hockey IQ?
Okay, I think video can help. I think you watch, if say you're the low guy on the power play. I'm just using this as an example. Low guy on the power play, you can watch your power plays from that game, and when you get it on your stick, where is it going? How quick, how long does it take me to look and see where that guy is, And then in practice, you maybe do it 2 or 3 times of, okay, now I'm not even going to look at the puck. I'm just going to get it, and I'm already going to be looking. And I think that split second, it could be half a second, a millisecond, whatever, but that's when they can't block the pass. You make it through. Little things like that where, okay, maybe it's a skill, right? So now, you're working on your passing, but I think it's kind of more hockey IQ where you're getting it and making that play on his tape, as opposed to maybe getting it blocked 2 out of 4 times. You're getting it through now 3 out of 4 times. Makes you look like you can see the ice better.
Right. Yeah. So it kind of starts with looking at video or watching it and then taking those things to practice into games.
I think you can watch other players take things that they do. Like, you watch someone with high hockey IQ, you're like, okay, why? I can shoot just hard, I can skate just fast, but why does, he get the job done more? And you can try to sponge some of that stuff up and use that too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's unreal advice, man. And one thing too and Boone, I know you and I have worked on this a bunch too, is for young kids especially, but even for pros, on ice awareness. Like, you say shoulder check, we always think just bang bang, and that means nothing. It's like taking pictures, looking at what's going on around you, but the more you shoulder check, the more you're aware of what's going on around you, the more confidence you have, the more time you think, you're aware that you have, so to your point, I think the video is amazing. And I think that's a huge piece of it. And then applying that into practice, like your shoulder checks, you're being aware on the ice, looking around. Like, I think that all that stuff is massive. Because even like if I watch clips of you and whoever, and I clip them, it's crazy. And you guys probably don't even notice it, but a rim's coming around the boards and like you shoulder check 3 times before you get the rim.
Yeah.
Which, for most kids, they don't even see it. Most spectators don't even see it, but like that is, to me, that's a skill. Like that's a massive skill that like it's a habit, right?
Even when you got it, you got to constantly work on it, right? Because
totally,
there'll be the odd one where you don't look and you just forget about it. You're worried about the D-man over here at that point where
sure.
So I think it's constantly trying to get better at it, and I think it starts in practice and the muscle memory, whatever you want to call it, where if you do it enough there, you can translate it into the game. It'll just happen for you. So
definitely, for sure, man.
Cool.
All right. Well, I got two quick questions.
Yeah.
Here's one from Solar here. He's got, how do you stay poised when holding on to the puck and make the right play when the game is moving so fast? So like a rim or like you're on a 2-on-1 or whatever's going on, right? It's like, how do you feel like, and I guess we kind of touched on a little bit there too, but how do you get poised with the puck under pressure, like pressure situations, speed of the game?
It's a reactive game, right? So you're just constantly reading. One rim, you might have more time than the other. And like you said, it goes back to your point of the shoulder check. If you don't shoulder check, you won't know. So you're just constantly reading and reacting. It sounds cliche, but I guess that's kind of how you know. If you can take that extra look, that'll help you when you have that extra second to make the next play. And not every play is going to be like that. It's like you said, it's a fast game. So you might be getting there at the same point as the other guy, and it might just be a chip or whatever. You just got to try to win the battle at that point. That's what a 50-50 puck. But other times, if you take that extra little second to take a look, some situations are even slowing yourself down. Some situations are getting there quicker. A lot of emphasis on that where it's always like go quicker. But, if you have a little space, sometimes taking, gliding for 2 seconds gives you a little bit more space to read the ice. And that's kind of when you can make your play. And it's not like the game is moving slower, then you just have more space to take advantage of it. So I guess, I don't know, I'm not poised all the time. I try to be, but it's definitely a skill. It's when you see someone like he's got good poise, it's I think he can just read the game well. He can read pressure and he's got smarts, I guess. So I think it's just a read and reaction from there.
I think that's it's awesome. Very good. And then one more here from Dorchester boy Julian Stubden, who's a great guy.
I like that.
Yeah. He's like, why did you decide to come back and do the hockey camps for free in Dorchester? So for anyone who doesn't know, Boone comes back every summer we don't have COVID and runs
COVID.
Runs a free hockey camp in Dorchester for the minor hockey players and brings in like some boys like Seth Jones came in and some of his buddies, and which is awesome, man, and so cool. But I guess we're kind of what somebody said, like what made you decide to do that, and how's that been going? How do you like it?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, I get some guys, ex-teammates or teammates in town usually, and we're not ready to be coaches yet, I'll tell you that much. Kids out there, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know, Dorchester just, obviously has a special place in my heart. Growing up there my whole life, going to school there, playing hockey there until I played AAA for the Chiefs. So special place in my heart, and I just wanted to do something there. I know a lot of guys do. A golf tournament or some fundraiser, but I thought it'd be fun to get all the kids on the ice and, meet some other NHLers and get to meet me. I'm still around close by in the summer. And so I always enjoy going back there, going back to the rink that I played in. And it's just a lot of fun. It's fun to see everyone from your hometown and the kids being excited and loving the game of hockey. And they got a great new rink there. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed it, and I wanted to do something back there just because I am back here in the summers, and yeah, it's fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I remember I remember years ago. I think you'd maybe call or text or something like, "Hey, Blazer, I might run a summer camp like for free indoors. Like, do you have some drills for me or whatever?" And
I was scrambling.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah. And then, like, to your point, it's like, it's not as easy as you like. You obviously have tons of drills, all good, like in your memory, but yeah, when you're dealing with like young kids and doing like summer camps and stuff, it's like it's not like that easy, but it'll be fine. And I think you probably realize pretty quick, like, I don't want to do this for a living. I'd rather like just play NHL and be way better.
I mean, I know a lot of drills, but trying to get 30 young ones to go through it at the same time and all listen is that's a little
challenge.
Different. So yeah, it's definitely different, but I mean, it's fun, right? You got to experience it, and
100%.
Glad I was doing it, and hopefully I can do it a couple more times here. After
totally.
The pandemic here, so we'll see.
Oh, I love it. Listen, buddy, I really appreciate it. And I know we have a couple other questions we can get to, but we'll definitely thank you everybody for joining the live and throwing some questions in, which is awesome. And Booner, I really appreciate your time, man. This is
no problem, guys.
Great time. And
it's awesome.
Always great to chat, and we'll see you soon.
Mitch, you buddy.
Appreciate it. About 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. All right. You two guys stick on the line, and everyone else have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.